But we've got a great show, great guests lined up for you. Right now, we're going to be talking with members of the community program called CARE. We've got Connie Cardinal here. She's the executive director of CARE. Sarah Kellen is our volunteer coordinator. And Tim Cardinal is here as well. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Connie, I'm going to get you a little closer to that one if you can get. Sorry about that. I know it's kind of weird with the chairs. Here we go. Let's talk a little bit about what CARE is and what it stands for. Connie, do you want to kind of get us going with that?
I'd love to.
Okay.
CARE is a nonprofit organization that helps seniors throughout central Minnesota. We've been helping seniors and their families that are challenged with aging issues for over 22 years now. We provide direct services to help seniors with community volunteers. Our goal is to promote healthy, active lifestyles and to provide support services to help seniors stay in their homes. And mostly what we do are rides, and we help with food insecurities for homebound clients.
Connie, I know this is something that people might not be familiar with, but this is actually a really big service that a community like St. Cloud and the surrounding communities really can need, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you for the explanation about what CARE is. When it comes to the mission of CARE, I think you talked a little bit about that. Supporting the aging community, supporting our seniors. This is something, I guess, how long has CARE been around?
22 years we've been providing rides, homemaking services, chore services, respite care, food for seniors.
All right, so quite a while this
Correct.
program's been here. Sarah, you are the volunteer coordinator when it comes to the program. In what ways do you find volunteers, and how does that work?
Well, we have over 150 volunteers that support our clients. It's kind of like neighbors helping neighbors. So we like to connect volunteers with people close to them to provide services. Direct services would include transportation, homemaking services, grocery shopping, yard work, and snow removal is something we do. A big aspect of our program is friendly visiting with senior isolation. Friendly visiting and friendly phone calls can really provide this support service to the aging community. Respite care, things like that. So I like to say that often our services allow the volunteer to form a connection with clients. It's a very personal service that we provide, and great friendships are formed. I began actually as a volunteer with the program in 2008. And I'm still serving the same client I started serving back then, and we have formed a great friendship.
Is that common to have that kind of relationship?
Absolutely.
Yes, I see it over and over. They build such connections. It's wonderful.
So you said friendly phone call? Is that one of those?
Yes.
Can you explain? Can you tap in to that a little bit?
I can personally attest to that. So the client that I serve, oftentimes, because she's alone, I can't get there every day. But on those days when I can't get there and I'm working in housekeeping my own home, I can put my headset on. I can give her a call and check in on her, make sure she's doing okay. Yep.
That's big. I mean,
absolutely.
You don't even have to be a volunteer to do something like that, just to check in with maybe an elderly neighbor or a relative. I mean, that is huge, connecting just to our seniors in our community. Before we get along to Tim, because Tim's got a really unique story, anything else real quick about CARE we want to get into before we slide over to what Tim has been doing?
I do have some statistics from 2023. So our over 150 volunteers supported over 200 clients. And kind of some of the statistics are just really impactful. Over 4,000 volunteer hours were committed to local seniors in our community. And taking these seniors to their much-needed doctor appointments, grocery shopping, also driving to clients' homes to serve them. Over 42,000 miles volunteers drove. So also homemaking and chore services, over 600 hours of these volunteers going into people's homes and just serving them. It's a community effort, really.
Sounds like it. I want to talk to Tim here for a second. Tim, you are a volunteer with CARE, Community Action Respecting Elders. Tim, you want to talk about your experience as a volunteer, and if you can remember, when did you get involved with volunteering for the program?
Well, I got involved in the program actually in 2017. And
Is that right, Connie?
Yes.
Okay.
and I was at that time I was doing food deliveries, and then when COVID came, there was a lot of food insecurity, so I was delivering, probably anywhere from 10 to 12 clients, in
wow.
the area. I grew up in this area, and so I was kind of given a lot of the driving to a lot of the places that were out of the way, the people, most everybody else probably didn't know the area,
Sure.
as much as I did. So growing up here, I'd do that. I'd probably spend like 2 hours, doing my round or whatever, once a week or once every couple of weeks. And I've continued to deliver food. I give clients rides to doctors and other medical appointments and whatever, food, grocery shopping. One gentleman, actually, he was a friend of mine for years, and he was low income, and he was 82, I believe, at the time, and he started needing rides to the vet, to the VA, and so I started giving him rides when he needed rides, and then he'd want to go grocery shopping, so we'd go grocery shopping or whatever, and most of the time he lived in Becker, and he always just shopped at the small store there. Well, then when I started giving him rides, I was able to bring him to Cashwise in town or whatever, and he was amazed. I remember the first time I brought him, he, pride and whatever, he wanted to walk, and it's like we got about halfway through the store, and it's like, yeah, I could tell he was getting tired. I had to go get him a riding cart so he could finish shopping. And so that's, and you get friendships, even, the clients that you do give rides to and whatever, you make friendships with them, when you're delivering food, you don't have the time to be able to, but there's certain people that, you make a connection with, you give them a call or stop back and at some other time and visit with them.
So if I'm kind of tracking what you're talking about here, Tim, you're really forming a meaningful connection with many of these clients that Care Services, and it goes over time. I mean, it builds.
Yeah,
Am I wrong in this?
It ends up being a lifelong friendship, so yeah.
Let's talk about how Care Community Action Respecting Elders works with the community.
We work in collaboration with other agencies to help bring services to seniors. We work with Catholic Charities. They have frozen meals, but they don't have the means to deliver them. So we partner with them and get food out in the community. We work with Benton County and VA social workers. Right now, they have a 5-month waiting list to help seniors. So they're calling on our program to help fill in those gaps. Many seniors in our community, once they give up driving, they have no way to get to the doctor, especially in our rural community. So that's where Care comes in and we can help.
So what I'm hearing is there are probably many ways you or I or someone listening can help. And it's, to be honest, it doesn't sound like it's going to take a lot of my time to volunteer and to help with this organization. In what ways are you have openings for volunteers, and what ways can someone help with the program, Sarah?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. One of the aspects of being a volunteer with the Care program is that it's wonderfully flexible and it's immensely rewarding at the same time. So you can become a direct services volunteer, and I listed some of those, providing transportation. I mean, simple phone calls. You don't even have to leave your home to serve as a Care volunteer. So you can help with community events. You can participate with assisting with office needs that we do have. We have one volunteer who actually, her husband was a client, and she's transitioned now into being a volunteer. And coming into the office as an aging person, she's making connections and friendships with the office staff, and it's really meeting a need she has. So we do have fundraising events throughout the year, so participating in those. And we have the opportunity to serve on committees. We have financial committee, we have an advertising committee, and fundraising. We also are supported by a board of directors. So that's a way that a person can volunteer.
Very good. For those interested, I know, Connie, you've got a story you want to share, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. Connie, could you maybe let people know the best way for people to reach out if they're hearing this and they'd like more information, or they'd like maybe Sarah to reach out to them about a volunteer program?
You can call the CARE office at 320-968-7848, or you can go online at www.careelders.org and get more information.
All right, CARE, CAREELDERS.org is the website. Connie, you were telling me that you have a story about helping when it comes to care.
This is just one of many, many stories. So I want to tell you about a gentleman by the name of Charles. He's a 79-year-old veteran who served our country in the Marine Corps in both Cuba and Vietnam. 2 years after he and his bride, Lois, were married, he found out he had a brain tumor. He received 36 treatments from the Mayo Clinic to shrink the tumor and was in remission for many years. They lived in several rural Minnesota communities, and they fostered over 100 children. 3 years ago, they moved to Foley to be closer to the VA hospital in St. Cloud, where he was seen on a regular basis. Charles needed rides to medical appointments, and he no longer felt comfortable driving to St. Cloud. Many seniors are nervous around all the roundabouts, and so that becomes an issue. 2 years ago, Charles was diagnosed with stage 4 brain, throat, stomach cancer. The cancer had even spread to his bones. Lois desperately needed help getting him to the chemotherapy appointments. CARE volunteers stepped up and helped her. Lois would ride along with Charles because he couldn't remember what the doctor said to him because of the chemotherapy caused memory loss. They enjoyed their visits with the volunteer drivers on the way to and from these appointments. They didn't have to worry because the volunteers brought them both comfort. This February, sadly, Charles lost his battle with cancer. And Lois is a gem. Her smile brightens up our office every time she enters. She said the staff and the volunteers treated them like family, and they still check in on her today. Due to her poor vision, Lois is now a client and receives rides from us. She has even become a CARE volunteer. She helps with newsletter mailings and other office tasks. Lois is lonely and trying to get used to her new normal without Charles. But she keeps busy. She attends our monthly senior social, and she even attends our senior art classes. She told me some of her closest friends are the people she met through the CARE program. So we are changing the lives. This is just one of many stories of helping seniors in our community.
And Connie, and anyone can chime in, I guess, on this one. That to me sounds like a relatively common story. I think we could probably substitute different names in there for different times. Now that we've entered 2024, about to hit 2025, do you see the need for volunteers with CARE growing, staying the same? I don't think it's going down anytime soon.
I will share with you, this is the first time in the history of the CARE program that we have a waiting list for clients. And those clients, we need volunteers to support those volunteers.
It's a big deal. Tim, did you want to? I saw you.
No.
Okay. I thought you were going to weigh in there. This is huge. My father-in-law, he's a single guy. Lost my mother-in-law a couple of years ago. And so this is something that we as a family are now going through, right? Making sure you're going out, you're still being involved in the community, you're socializing rather than being, at home by yourself. You want to be out there. So great opportunities. Once again, Connie or Sarah, the number to call or a website for people if they'd like to take part in this program and volunteer and make a difference.
The phone number is 320-968-7848. And the other thing we need is not only do we need volunteers, we need financial support. So donations are very much welcome. That's how we support the program and how it's been going on for 22 years because of the support of individuals that see our value.
501c3?
Yes.
So the nonprofit, right? End of the year, if you'd like to make a taxable donation, this would be a great time to do that, or start your 2025 off with a nice taxable contribution. I know you would appreciate that. Sarah, Connie, Tim, anything else that we want to talk about today? We got about 3.5 minutes or so.
Well, one thing that I would just like to say is we have a lot of rural seniors. Many of them grew up on farms, and a lot of these women never drove, and they now find themselves alone, and there's not a lot of transitional housing. So keeping seniors in their homes and preventing premature nursing home placement is so important. It's a passion that I have had, and we want to just keep this program going. And we can do that with the help of people out in the community.
One of the things for me is, when we were young, the people that are at an elderly age now took care of us. It's our turn to take care of them.
It's a great point, Tim.
Absolutely. And I just want to remind people that we work cooperatively with families. There's a lot of families who are, the children are living remotely, and we want to be an aid to those people who are in our local communities. So that's why we're here.
It's a great program. I'm glad I'm learning more about it today. CareElders.org, CareElders. Connie, 30-second commercial for why people should support and volunteer for CARE.
People should support CARE because they might need it someday. It's a wonderful organization. You won't regret it.
I like it. Thank you so much for coming in today, all of you. Connie Cardinal, Executive Director, Sarah Kellen, Volunteer Coordinator, and Tim Cardinal coming in and talking about the Community Action Respecting Elders. Oh, you hit her. Did I miss something?
No.
Tim?
We have different last names.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was giving you. I'm sorry, Tim. What's your last name? I'm sorry,
Tim Adelman.
Tim Adelman. All right. I didn't mean to make you a cardinal.
That's all right.
I apologize.
It was never explained.
No, well, people don't. We won't even go into the pre-story.
He didn't have a card.
I guess we didn't say that Connie and I are married. So
walking in, I'm asking, "Oh, Tim, where do you live?" and all this, assuming everyone's different. And he's looking at Connie the whole time, and I'm like, I have no idea why he's needing help right now, but we'll just let it go. But we do appreciate you coming in, and it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Thank you.
So amazing, Connie, Sarah, Tim. Thank you so much for stopping by.